Did you see the government budget paper? They are saying only $2 increase per week.
They are dreaming. Dreaming. Have you ever had a $2 rental increase from a real estate agent?
Way.
I don't know who paid them to say that.
Yeah.
That is built-in fantasy land. So I'll tell you a short story. And I've told this a couple of times, but in India, there was an issue with a lot of people. There was too many snakes and people were getting a lot of snake bites. Mm-hmm. So the government put in a policy where they paid people to kill the snakes. They bring the snakes in and people get paid for it. And it was super effective. Yeah. But it was so effective and people were good at making money that people started breeding snakes.
Oh, right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So snake population is high.
Yeah.
Government incentive comes in. Snake population drops.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But some entrepreneurial Indians have gone, we can make money off this.
All right.
So we just start breeding snakes. We breed them, we kill them, we go get the money from the government.
Right.
And then what happens is the government found out that was happening. So the snake population's declined. The government found out that's happened, right? Then they say, we're not paying you anymore for the snakes. So what do the people do? They released all the snakes they had been breeding.
Yep.
And so the snake population went back up.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So the population sees the changes and human interest, self-interest, always wins. People are like, well, how is this benefiting me?
Correct. Yeah.
What can I do? They'll pay someone like Anita from ARK Accounting
to
give them the best advice of how they can take the most advantage from the government's new policy. And that's not always what the government intended.
Yeah.
So behaviour shapes. So one of the goals is to see, I think the one thing that the government didn't, really see coming, the first thing from a property perspective, not from a tax perspective, is all current portfolios, especially if it's an existing property.
Yeah.
Like, why would you sell it?
Exactly. Why?
Why would you sell the property?
No, I wouldn't. Yeah.
If as a property investor, current portfolio, that's under lock and key. You just hold on to that forever and ever. So the negative impact of that is supply.
Correct, yes.
The supply falls
in
the near term.
Yeah.
It falls. And the market is a consequence of supply and demand.
Yes, yeah.
Right? So when there's a limited supply, as soon as there's pressure around supply, prices tend to go up.
Yeah.
They tend to go up. So the shock now, I've been reading a lot of stuff on this. I think over the last 3 weeks in Sydney, the auction clearance rates have been below 50%.
I know, I saw that. Yes, yeah.
Last week it finished at 31%.
Yep.
That's for every 3 properties for sale, 2 don't have a buyer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
There's no buyers. So it's impacting the buyer behaviour. People are like, well, I don't understand what's happening, so I'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's also impacting the sale behaviour.
Correct.
So listings are lower.
Yeah.
The amount of people who are going to sell properties is lower. And what that does is it puts pressure on supply.
Correct, yeah.
When there's less supply, prices go up. So I think that's one of the huge things that they're not seeing. The other big thing is rent increases.
I know, yes, yeah.
Rents are on the march. Rents are going up. And you've got to remember, in the COVID period, rents went up aggressively. We've just come through a 3-4 year period where rents have climbed very aggressively. And now we're going to move back into that.
Back into that, yes. Yeah, but did you see the government budget paper? They are saying only $2 increase per week.
They are dreaming. Dreaming.
I know. I mean, it doesn't even add to the
so
to the
pub
maths.
test, right? The pub test. The pub test is, have you ever had a $2 rental increase from a real estate agent?
No way. It would either be like 5 to 10%, or at least to match the CPI, it would be like more than 3-4%. Yeah.
I don't know who paid them to say that.
Yeah.
But that is built-in fantasy land.
I know, yes.
That's not real world.
No.
Who gets a $2 rental increase? I've never even heard of that. So the government modelling is wrong and it's skewed to show that the impacts of their decisions aren't going to be as bad. Because here's the catch, right? They're trying to help people who are renting. The renters are the most vulnerable. Renters are the most vulnerable. Often, I've been helping families to get into the property market for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And there will always be a segment of the population that can't get into the market, even if the prices were lower, right? So 70% of Australians have less than $1,000 in savings. People live paycheck to paycheck. They live week to week.
Yeah.
So if you need a deposit, they don't have one.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Yeah.
Most people, if you need to replace all 4 tyres on your car at the same time, that's a problem. People don't save, they spend.
Yes.
Right? So you're always going to have this vulnerable subset within the population that can't go out and buy a property.
Yeah.
Even if the property prices, the government incentives, all of that stuff in place, they still can't do it. So they're the most vulnerable. And what people forget is landlords are the ones who provide housing for those people.
Yes.
Not the government.
Correct.
The government
yes.
doesn't do that. Landlords do it. And in order to have a tenant, you have to have a landlord. Right? So I think the war on property investors, people miss the mark. And people don't actually understand who property investors in Australia are.
Yeah.
They're mums and dads, bro.
Yeah, true.
71% of Australian investors
Yeah.
only have one investment property. Just one. So these are not people that have millions and millions of dollars living the high life.
Yeah.
These are mums and dads that have worked their butt off. They've finally put the kids through school and they want to get an investment property because they want a bit of a nest egg to leave the kids something and to have something for them in their retirement. And that's the goal. These people are trying to build safety and security. You know, it's the percentages of people that have 5 or more properties, it's like 0.01%. It's so low. Right? So the government's war on landlords, I think, it's popular. It's popular because housing is a problem.
Yeah, it is.
But housing is also a necessity.
Yes.
Everyone needs somewhere to live. And in order for a renter to have somewhere to live, there has to be a landlord that they rent that property from. And that's the challenge.
Yeah.
So you've got a supply side restriction coming in because property investors won't sell their existing portfolio.
Yeah.
Because why would they?
Yeah.
It's grandfathered in.
Correct.
Mate, I'll hold on to that property forever and ever. But the other side is you get a supply side restriction because if more of those properties that are for sale go to homeowners, then there's less properties for rent.
Yeah, true.
And when there's a constraint in supply, there's an increase in cost.
Yeah.
So that's the double whammy that's coming.
So what do you think about the 75,000 new houses being built by 10 years, within 10 years?
No, it's not enough.
Not enough. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's not enough.
It's a drop in a bucket.
Yeah.
So the government come out and they had the policy they're going to build 1.2 million properties over X period of time.
Correct.
They are way off their own targets.
Yeah.
They are not going to get there. And so they're saying there's going to be 75,000 new homeowners that come into market. That's homeowners, not houses being built.
Oh,
Yeah. So new homeowners.
New homeowners.
Which is, for those families, it's amazing, right? But there's always, so if you think about it, there's a subset of people that don't manage their finances well enough to be able to buy, right? And then you've got immigration. You get people, generally within 1 to 5 years, they rent.
Yes.
So all of the people that come in and they rent.
I
so
know,
that's upwards pressure on rent. And the government's not turning off the tap on immigration. Immigration is on. They're letting in a lot of people into Australia. So that is pressure on rents.
Yep.
So I think the biggest, negative unintended consequence from this policy is there's going to be aggressive rental increases.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
Yeah. So this policy was implemented in 1987, from 1987 to 1989.
Yeah.
And in Sydney, there was a 31% increase in rents.
Wow.
Right?
That's a massive increase.
So here's the thing. Let's do the maths, right? So if you're renting today, $850 in Sydney, that's a pretty normal rent, right? Not high, not low. 850 plus 31%. Your rent will go from $850 to $1,113.50 in 2 years.
Wow. That's a lot.
That's enough for the government
Yeah.
to change their policy.
But the thing is, these, how the rent is going up by that, but the salary and wages don't go up by that. That's
right.
the problem, right?
That's right.
And how will these people be able to, pay that much?
Yep. So let's look at investors, right? So investors are going to not sell their existing portfolio.
Yeah.
And they'll skew towards new properties.
Yeah.
So they can still get the negative gearing benefits. And what people miss is they need the negative gearing benefits more so for borrowing capacity.
Yeah.
Right? It's borrowing capacity. Borrowing capacity is the one that no one's looking at.
I know, yes.
So the latest modelling that I've seen, they're saying that the borrowing capacity drop is about 20%. Right? So that's not small. If you've got a $1 million borrowing capacity, pre-May 12th, 7:30 p.m., whatever it is, that's now 800,000.
Yes.
That is a significant drop.
Yes.
Significant drop. Right? And then you add on to that rate increases, interest rate rises and all of that. the borrowing capacity is the big issue. So the borrowing capacity
Yeah.
is what will force the investors to skew towards new properties.
Yeah.
Right? So yes, the tax benefits, but the borrowing capacity is what's going to get them there. Right?
Yep.
Okay, now that we understand that, what are some of the loopholes? How can I get around this? Right? You're an accountant. I want to save some money.
Oh my God, yes.
Right?
So one of the loopholes I think a lot of people have been talking about is, if you already have a home to stay in, and if you want to go and buy one property, then you can make this property, the current ownership, is an investment property, and just go and move into the one that you're going to buy. So that way you're still within, this property is purchased before 12th of May 2026. So you can still claim the negative gearing from this property and just go and buy, staying in the new property.
Yeah, this is one of the huge loopholes. So I've even seen, I think Effie Zahos on the news, she was talking about the primary place of residence now is a huge asset class.
It is, yeah.
Because it just evades all of this stuff. It doesn't apply. So people can put a lot more value into that.
Correct.
And the other thing is you can shift debt.
Yeah.
Shift debt. So you have higher debt inside of your investment properties and low to no debt inside of your primary place of residence.
That's
I think there'll be a little bit of that playing going on. Any other loopholes that you're seeing?
That's the only thing so far I've seen.
Okay. Well, people, I think it's more a shift in behaviour, but that's the loophole that I'm hearing about as well. 100%.
Yeah.
So I jumped on AI today, right? I was like, well, this is a tax.
Yeah.
So how much money does the government actually get from tax?
Yes.
In regards to property? And the numbers are pretty staggering, right? So the total tax receipts in Australia is about $890 billion.
Correct. Yeah.
Right, per annum.
Yeah.
That's how much the government takes of our money.
Our money.
Right? Our money. Right?
Our hard-earned money.
Our hard-earned struggle, hustle, grind, sweating, waking up 4 a.m, not being able to get sleep. That hard-earned money.
Yeah.
And the government takes $890 billion of that.
Wow. Yes.
Right? But then I was like, okay, well, what percentage of that is actually attributable to property? Right? And so it's about 12% of that. So it's about $100 billion per year is government tax, right, on property.
Yes.
So the main taxes are stamp duty, right, which is the state level taxes, right? We've also got land tax, right, and, which is also state, and then you've got CGT, right?
Yep.
So across those three, they're pulling in about $100 billion a year.
Wow, that's massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So for me, the goal for the government, they don't always say it, but generally the goal is to increase tax receipts. They want to make more money from tax.
Correct, yeah.
Right? They never lead with that, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
They're never like, oh, let's do this thing where we get less money.
No, they wouldn't do that.
They don't do that, right? So if this is federal. The federal government wants to increase their tax receipts.
Correct, yeah.
Right? So the federal government is trying to get paid more money in capital gains tax. Right? I think one of the things they've miscalculated is people not transacting.
Yeah.
Not transacting.
Yes.
It's one of the big ones. So if you look, there's a drop in the auction clearance rates.
Correct.
There's a drop in people that are putting their properties on the market.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like we said, the unintended consequence is investors are like, well, why would I sell? So there's no tax receipts on those properties.
Yeah.
So I don't think they saw that coming.
Yeah, maybe the economists who prepared all the papers, maybe they didn't see it coming.
And then, so where do you think, from a property perspective, what do you think will be the behaviour in terms of what people are going to buy in the future? Do you think investors are going to buy new properties? Or do you think they'll be like, I don't care, and they'll just keep buying existing properties? What do you think?
I think I was having a chat with a couple of mortgage brokers the other day, and then some people who don't know like what negative gearing and what are these changes really mean to them, they might still go ahead and buy that. But if you are quite aware and this is impacting you, and you hold like 2-3 properties, and are planning to invest in properties, then they might look for other options also. There are shares which are performing way more than property market maybe, or if you're thinking of long-term capital gain, then you'll forget about short-term negative gearing, and then you will just go and invest. But did you hear about how the same thing happened in New Zealand, and then they had to revert it back to the old system?
well, it's happened here in Australia
Oh,
from
okay.
87 to 89.
Oh, yeah.
It happened in New Zealand. Australia scrapped it. New Zealand scrapped it. And Australia's reintroduced it.
Yeah. So
So obviously they're trying to figure out a way. So if you look at the tax base, because what do you think the impacts are that the government actually wants to see from this?
yeah, I mean, what they are saying is they just want to have a fairer tax system, right? Some people are benefiting from it, and some people are just salary and wage earners. They are not getting anything. But if you look at it, then I don't see it from that perspective, right?